Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where Egypt forms an empire. Egypt is going to become imperial. They're going to nationalize everything that they probably already nationalized back in the 60s. But they are nationalizing everything and they're becoming imperial. They immediately build up 2 million troops, even larger than Russia and North Korea. Well, no. Just Russia's manpower. Because no, North Korea has 1 million troops. Which might sound like North Korea is strong, but trust me, they're conscripts, that's why. South Korea is voluntary. Those are conscripts. I'm pretty sure it's mandatory to be in the army. In North Korea. I could be wrong though. Anyways, Lordman 290 Geography is back, but I renamed it and revamped it. And I also deleted all the videos because those videos suck. Anyways, enough with the lore. Let's actually begin the video. And obviously, we have to get the controversial threat out of here. You know, this is too controversial. There's many YouTubers, like this mapping YouTuber, and Greater Israel will happen, Greater Palestine. No, we just don't care. See, Israel is in Palestine, and Palestine is in Israel. They're actually Egypt. And I don't know what I just said there. Sorry, my voice sounds a little weird. I'm a little sick. Okay, anyway. So enough jokes. Egypt annexes this country, and I'm not going to mention this area anymore unless if I have to. But now that we got the controversy out the way, let's take a look at Africa, because I know you guys want to see some African wars more than Middle East wars. Well, also we're going to be disassembling NATO, and the UN's going to be more lazier if it already was. And also the US-Iran war is not happening in this scenario. Keep that in mind for later. No, they're not going to take over the US. It's something else. Anyway, Sudan, more like the Egyptian province of Sudan. I didn't know what joke to come up with. Anyway, Sudan's going to get absolutely rocked here. Did they ever stand a chance? No. Do I care? No. They never stood a single chance. I don't know where their capital is, but I'm going to say their capital's right here. Even though I probably either already captured it or it's like all the way down here. I don't know. I'm not good with my African capitals, bro. Like, okay, the Europeans did this, bro. The Europeans did all this, bro. Let's blame the British and the French and the Germans, Italians, Belgians, Portuguese, Spanish, Netherlands, Ottomans, Turkish, Austro-Hungarians. Let's just blame every single country except Africa for this. I mean, they ruined Africa. They literally, Mauritania. Okay, anyway, sorry, I get a little off track. Anyways, their capital's right here, and they just took it. Don't ask. I just thought the capital was right there. I gotta look this up after this. I'm so sorry. I gotta look it up. I'll look it up after this video if I do like a Sudan empire. Alright, if you guys want, you can also suggest in the comments, but if you don't suggest by like 24 hours, I'll probably pre-record 3 videos today, so no suggestions today. Once I'm done, I'll upload this video. I'll upload each of these videos on different time steps of either today or tomorrow. Because I don't feel like recording tomorrow. Anyway, Sudan will fall. Sorry, I want to go to the other big wars. And as you know, full annexation, Full annexation, country annexes country. Full annexation. Okay, so now we're starting to see kind of the Anglo-Egyptian Sudan sort of thing, or like the Egyptian vassal from the Ottomans back in the 1900s. Chad, more like Fatah. Sorry. Okay, that was a horrible joke. Anyway. So, I'm too lazy to color this in, so I'm just gonna paint the first bit of the front line. However, we see here that instead of just country sweeps country, we actually see country intervening. Oh, that's a big one. Hey, Algeria, and Libya. You want to do something funny? Oh yeah, declare war on you. Okay, no, it's too early. It's too early. But really, Ethiopia does declare war. I'm keeping that. With Ethiopian strength and also French help, maybe sending a few Toyotas. If you know, you know. Toyota War. If you know. It happened. Alright, let me give you a quick explanation. I forgot what the year was. I think it was around 2011. But Libya basically wanted to attack Chad. Like, if you're a family member, you might want to watch this because it's a little history lesson. So basically, Libya was invading Chad. They wanted a strip that looked something like this, sorta. And the French just gave them independence. So the French, instead of sending actual tanks, they sent Toyotas. I'm not kidding you. If you're a family member or someone else, look it up. I'm not accurate though. I'm only like a couple years old, so I could be wrong. I'm just a stupid little kid who does geography, I guess. Anyways, that back to the actual scenario. Sorry, I just had to give a little history lesson here. But I feel like Libya would definitely want to intervene to get revenge for the Toyota War. Anyways, with the Toyotas and the French sending aid, uh, the Ethiopians, what are they doing here? Well, both of these countries are relatively strong, even with the addition to Sudan. Egypt and Sudan combined are still not that strong. They're basically just Egypt. Honestly, the only difference in the Egyptian Empire is with Israel. Actually, I said I wasn't going to mention that region. Not going to mention that region. Oh, look, we have some activity. But it's not going well for Egypt. Well, that's not what Egypt wanted to see. And, if anything could get worse, South Sudan joined the war. Oh, but guess who got revenge for the Toyota Wars? Welp, karma repeats itself, doesn't it? Something like that. Okay, I'm so bad at making jokes. Please call me L Joker in the comments. Anyways, they take back this strip of land and say, I'm out and goodbye. No, they actually do that. They just take the strip and they occupy it, but they actually leave the war. However, with Egypt threatening them, they're going to join back in the war. Otherwise, they're going to be invaded. I'm just going to tell you something right now. They're probably going to be invaded anyway. Anyways, back to the Chad. Chad is not becoming Chad because Chad is losing half of their country. Chad isn't Chad. South Sudan never existed. What? Ethiopia got nuked like Japan. Okay. Oh yes, Ethiopia. Oh yes. There are many countries that try to. This is like the 13th country that tried to conquer Ethiopia, I think. So like Italy, Somalia, a bunch of these weird European nations, China, they even tried to once, and now Egypt. So I think that marks 13 countries. God dang, 13 countries tried to take over them. And the only country that succeeded so far was Italy, only for a couple of years. W Italy in the comments. But Italy is kind of getting jealous right now because it looks like they're not going to be the only ones taking over Ethiopia. As Addis Ababa will fall, I don't know how to pronounce it, and I think that's the capital. Once again, like in Sudan, I'm not sure where the capitals are. Oh, and guess what? We have a betrayal happening. Yeah, when I told you they were going to get invaded anyway, do you think I was joking? If you actually thought I was joking, please respectfully leave the video right now. We actually don't have any views. Okay, anyway. The Egyptians will continue their little advances into the country. What is happening to my map? The little Libyans right here, the little tiny little 10-year-olds will die. Sorry, that was a little harsh. Please don't ban me. Anyways, just like the Italians did in World War II, they're gonna make kind of a little spearhead, and they're gonna kind of sit around here, chill a little bit, and well, Libya will surrender. And now let's take a look at a peace treaty between, and I'm gonna call this the first coalition because let's make because honestly, oh yeah, I forgot to mention France also took tried to take over Egypt as well. Let's not forget the Napoleonic Wars, guys. I almost forgot, bro. I'm only into like modern history and maybe a little bit of ancient Rome, but not really. I'm just gonna draw the peace treaty. I don't feel like editing it. Alright, all of Chad, and you know what? Let's give Somalia some land. Somalia deserved it. They almost won against Ethiopia if it wasn't for them dang Soviets. And so, how about let's just give them this part of Ethiopia to rage bait the Ethiopians? I'm sure the Ethiopians and Somalilanders are really gonna love this one. Anyways, the rest of the land that you see here, alongside the rest of Libya, is going to be annexed into the Egyptian Empire. Now, they probably have 20 empires at this point, so this is the 21st Egyptian Empire. I'm making this all up. This is all simulation, guys. None of this is real. Okay, God, I get so off track in these videos, it's not even funny. I'm just trying to copy Adis Pro with his jokes, bro. I'm not in original. I wonder if I should do a Wisco. Okay, comment down below if I should do a Wisco. Because now Adis Pro's Wisco, I need ideas. But for now, I'll do these types of videos. Anyways, Egypt is looking very, very looks maxing right now. Why did I just say a 2025-24 joke? Anyways, if you can't tell, the goal of Egypt here, they want to border the Atlantic because they want to dominate. They want to dominate the U.S. Oh, and remember what I said about Iran? We're gonna go to that at probably around the end of the video. Anyways, Nigeria. I mainly got this idea from Adis Pro, who basically did in Nigeria, but I'm doing Egypt because I don't want to copies. Hold on, wait, someone's outside. I think someone's robbing my house again. Oh, never mind, it was just my grandpa. Okay. Anyways, back to the video, chat. Alright, so I think Nigeria's capital is somewhere over here. All I know is that Nigeria is actually in crisis right now. They're divided between Muslims and Christians, and there's a bunch of genocides going on, but of course the American imperialist media doesn't usually talk about it, so that's just America only cares about themselves and their allies. They only care about the wars they get in. They don't care about Sudan at all, actually. No, I actually think of Trump, like my approval rating of Trump is like heavily low right now. I mean, I get it, you're trying to liberate Iran, but I mean, it wasn't your fault, but like you actually already set up a dictator regime with the Shah, bro. They weren't even a democracy. So you're replacing a dictator with another dictator. By a dictator, because I think Trump is a dictator, I don't know. Not going on that. That's just like Israel. I'm not going on that. Democrats versus Republicans are just like Israelis versus Palestinians. I'm not going in that. Anyways, what will happen to these countries? Full annexation. Yes. Very original. However, just like the old empire, there's always going to be some big coalition that goes against Egypt. Because, as you can tell, this looks like the old empire if it was only African and partially Asian. So, a large coalition of a bunch of countries that you could think of, such as like all of these. Wait, hold up, I'm not done. The only ally they have is Somalia, Djibouti, and Eritrea because they don't want to be annexed. And they will be granted some land if they help. They'll even be gifted some Ethiopian land that they've always wanted. God dang, this is a huge coalition. If you thought that was rough, we have our first outside power intervening. Pakistan. Yeah, they don't really like Egyptians acts. Oh, and remember what I said about Iran? Boom. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, let's not make this turn into a world war. Let's just pretend that Russia and China don't exist. But the United States is now launching Operation Epic Fury, except without Israel. But instead of Israel, they're launching it with They're launching it with Venezuela, or they kind of give the government the new Free Republic of Venezuela. They launched the strikes on Iran. This prompts these two countries to just go to war just so they can invade Egypt, because Egypt also joins in on the strikes. But Egypt's not going to focus on them. They have they have an entire African war to focus on, with only about four. There are only three allies here, but you do have the U.S., so you should be safe. And also, oh, sorry I sneezed, but I'm going to keep it there. Alright, enough yapping, let's get into the actual action. Benin and Togo, when did I ever expect you guys to live? Burkina Faso, same thing as Benin and Togo. Niger, more like Nogier. Libya doesn't even have a government. Tunisia's weak. And these guys are like 1914 Germans and French fighting in the trenches on the mountains. However, the first success in this war, which was probably expected since Morocco's kind of getting gangbanged here, Western Sahara suddenly does a little thing and somehow finds their way out of Morocco. I don't know how, but they just do. However, what is not going to happen is, first of all, Egypt will actually gain an ally in Equatorial Guinea. And Pakistan is being invaded by the United States right now. They're launching Operation Free Paki. We can't get... I wonder how America's getting all these names. They're probably getting these names from Timu, not gonna lie. Anyways, Operation Pakistani Freedom goes as just as well as the Iraqi Freedom Mission. If you can even call it freedom, because it's still non-American aligned. They still don't really have ties with America, so what was the point of this? I know Islamabad is right here. Okay. But did you think the US was doing this alone? No, we have a coalition. The French, Spanish, and Italians will all join the war. A very unlikely duo, but let's just assume that Trump isn't in power, and instead we have JD Vance, who's a little bit more lighter than Trump. He's just kind of better than Trump, they say. Anyways, Pakistan is dead after 1 month of this operation. They're immediately turned into the American Republic of Pakistan and used that to help out Operation Epic Fury, also launching another separate operation called Operation Iran-e-Freedom. We cannot keep up with original names, huh, America? I guess also Western Europe. However, this is not what we're focused on. We're focused on Egypt and what they're doing. The Egyptians will start to make an advancement from Equatorial Guinea. I forgot to color them the right color. And the Equatorial Guineans and the Egyptians and all these weirdo countries here. Yeah, they're gonna go bye-bye. Gabon, I don't know where your capital is, once again. At this point, why am I even doing an African episode? I need to learn the capitals before I do these types of videos. Uh-oh, looks like there's a weak spot. Uh-oh, looks like Morocco fell into the trap. Uh-oh, looks like U.S. hostages have been killed here. Whoa. Okay, so it's pretty violent here. What about how about Equatorial or whatever this Western Sahara, whatever. Not going so well either. There's a lot of violence down here. A lot of violence down here. They're holding off a stalemate, but it's not going well for the blue team. Even though it seems like Morocco is getting out of this war, it's not. Why did you even join this war, Central African Republic? Okay, DRC, what are we gonna do here? Because all of your allies are just surrendering. They didn't really want to be a part of this war. It was actually just a mission by China to force these countries in the war. Only the big countries supported it, or I guess all the countries that have not surrendered yet. Yeah, all of these countries supported the idea and want to fight. All of these countries surrendered because they immediately backed down, knowing they were going to lose anyway. It was just a suicidal mission to weaken an American ally. Because clearly they've aligned themselves with America, and China doesn't like that. That's also why they wanted Pakistan to get in the war, but it didn't really end that well, Because not only did Tehran just get heavily bombed by 5 million nukes, Iraqi Freedom Part 2 is here. But this time, there's no MEDs, it's the Americans using the MEDs. They somehow still keep the coalition together, capturing Baghdad somewhere around here. The Kurds are definitely using this opportunity to declare independence, at least the Iraqi ones. Now, honestly, they're just gonna be glad. They don't really want all this land. Like, that's a lot of land to give for Kurdistan. I don't even know how they would control it. Like, how would they control it? Jordan, more like Putin. Wait, what? I'm gonna get killed for that. Okay, anyway. Equatorial Burkina Faso, I don't know how you've held it out for this long. I guess it's just as Egypt is not focusing on you. Alright, where are Egyptian troops right now? Because this is a huge empire and also a lot of occupied countries. Well, now the Americans are kind of done, but they're going to help out in Africa, so now this war is going to go by a lot quicker. They were just focused on the Middle East and also South Asia. Where are they going? Oh my gosh. Hold on, give me a sec. Papa, where is Mama going? Look for something in the car. Okay. Alright. Okay, so, it's just my grandma looking for something. I'm gonna sit in this chair that I have right here. I know you can't see it, but I'm sitting in a comfy chair right now. Anyways, the DRC is going to lose. I do know their capital is right here. Actually, that's kind of a mistake because they lose their capital. So honestly, this front line was just for nothing. That's why Rwanda can conquer so much of Congo, but yet they don't really conquer the valuable. That's actually kind of sad, bro. You think Rwanda was winning, but then you realize their capital's all the way right here, and all the valuable land is over here, and this is just wasteland. So that's why many people think Rwanda can beat up the DRC. I mean, they actually probably could if no allies intervene, and it was just these two countries along with Uganda. There could definitely be some consequences here, but the government collapses. Belgium is summoned. I don't know how. And they managed to convince the people to set up a puppet government for them, bringing back the scramble for Africa, but in a different form. Okay, Burkina Faso is holding out. Let's tell about troop movements. 1 million troops are over here, along with many coalition forces, which I'm going to name this coalition Vancemania. Vancemanian Coalition, including you now, and including Egypt and all of their allies, including Morocco. The violence here is slowly getting dealt with by American missiles. However, it's still not fully solved. However, as Egypt comes from the other side, and as Burkina Faso just refuses to surrender, they decide to go to Guyana, basically to try and encircle them. They have to get past Mali before they want to even threaten Burkina Faso. And this is the first time, this is kind of like the Russian invasion of Ukraine, where it's like embarrassing, or like the US invasion of Afghanistan. Well, I wouldn't really call it invasion because it's not directly. It's more just supporting the pro-American government. It's kind of like a proxy war, but the Americans were heavily involved in it more than any other war. The Malians will soon surrender, which will lead to the Mauritanians also losing a huge chunk of land back to Western Sahara, since Mauritania is no longer dealing with them. To punish Mauritania, they will occupy a lot of their land. Burkina Faso is going to get jumped here. The jumping of Burkina Faso is huge, as these areas just fall and boom, dead. Don't know why that took so long. Anyways, the Great African War is over, and let's take a look at the final peace treaty of the video, because I'm getting tired and I need to poop. This is going to be a long treaty, but Egypt's not even going to take that much land. They're just going to set up puppet governments. Okay, I'm going to do this live, too. I'm going to do this live, because I want this video to be long, so you guys can actually have an experience. Okay, so Niger is going to... The only land they're going to take here is the rest of Libya, parts of Niger, and CAR. That's literally all they're taking. Eritrea and Djibouti are each granted their fair share. Pakistan is also granted their fair share for helping out, even though they were liberated and didn't really originally help. Same thing goes on here. The Kurds get independence, but under heavy American watch, and all they lose is a strip of land to Egypt. We see Morocco completely occupying many lands, annexing all of Mauritania. The Belgians will annex this, and the French will annex this country. And the Spanish will annex this. That's all for the main country. The US will only secure the Strait of Hormuz in case of another revolution happens. They want to secure it as long as possible. And to secure it, they must make sure that it doesn't fall. The rest of these countries are free and they get to live on their own. So all of these countries, they're free. Actually, I take this back. These two are not free. Alright, let's start the annexation now. Starting off, we have Egypt annexing these countries along with this part of Nigeria and all of Libya and CAR. It's kind of a lot, but trust me, it's not really that much. They're already so big, they don't even need to. They should have not annexed any land in this war. They should have let their allies expand. But of course, they have to be a little greedy, so they have to get some land. But in exchange, they are giving some of their allies, probably their loyal ones, their most loyal ones, they say, will be granted many of this land. Djibouti suddenly becomes way more powerful. Now let's take a look at what these guys look like, and then we will decode the map. And I will take a picture of the Egyptian Empire. The Egyptian Empire is going to be insane. Alrighty, so we are seeing a split here. And yeah, so this is actually going to go over to American pro-Iraq. And I'll keep the red here as like an alliance, but Iran is going to just go by. Same with the Kurdish and this UN buffer state. Same with most of these countries. They don't gain anything, really. And same with a lot of these. The final gains are from these guys, so yay, props to them. But that's all. And that's all that they can really do. Then they're also going to leave the coalition, so these guys. And eventually the coalition is disbanded, but it will be probably reformed if it ever needs to be. Alright, let me decolor all of these countries real quick. What happened to the map? Okay. Alrighty, guys, and this is the Egyptian Empire at its peak. If you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. And I don't even want to edit this video. This video is so long, so you might hear some parts, but in all honesty, it's really fun to watch. So go watch it. I'm too lazy to edit it. I gotta make shorter videos, but honestly, I could have done more at the same time. I could have made them expand, but I only made them do Africa and solve this issue. Yeah, I'm gonna do that every time somewhere, except for like what if Israel formed an empire of some sort. But thank you guys so much for joining. I'll see you guys later.